Hi everyone. You can see that you're all starting to join the webinar, so we'll just give it a few seconds. Okay, so good afternoon everyone. I'm Nadine and I work for TreeKeeper here in the UK. And we would like to give a warm welcome to everyone joining us here today. So this webinar is all about TreeKeeper. It's going to be a bit different to our usual webinars, as this is a product demo rather than a discussion about a project or a concept. We hope it's going to be really useful for you, and you will get the opportunity to ask lots of questions about the software at the end. So in a minute, I'm going to introduce the speakers to you, but let me just run through how the webinar is going to work. So we'll be starting with Ben, my colleague from TreeKeeper. Hi, Ben. And he will talk. He'll talk a little bit about the role of the tree officer and some of the challenges that tree officers face when using tree management software, and also the role of TreeKeeper in bringing TreeKeeper to the UK. Then we'll hand over to Josh from Davey. Hi, Josh. And he will give you a demo on TreeKeeper and how it works. This should last about half an hour, I think. Is that right, Josh? Yeah. We think you'll find this bit really interesting, and it will give you some food for thought if you're thinking about purchasing some tree management software. Afterwards, we'll open the floor to some Q&A where you can ask direct questions about anything you've seen today or things we haven't covered. But we won't be able to get to all of your questions, but those we don't get to, we can always take up after the event, so don't worry. But before we leap in, just a bit of housekeeping. So you should have a panel on your right-hand side, and that should have a questions tab on it. If you click in there, this is where you can put your questions for the Q&A. So please go ahead and do that throughout the webinar, and we'll get to those at the end. I'm also going to be putting some links in the chat box on the right-hand side. So I'll be putting some links into some useful resources there for you. So just keep an eye out for those. But before we start, I'm going to launch a quick poll to see who we've got with us today. So let's have a look. Who is here today? Hopefully you can all see that. Give it a few more seconds. Okay, so that's really interesting. We've actually got 43% consultants with us today. We've got 27% local authorities, 12% academics, and 18% other. That's really interesting. Thank you for that. So I have another poll, as this webinar is all about tree management software. So we're interested to see who already has a system in place at the moment. So I'm just going to launch that one. Okay, so we've got 56% don't have any in place at the moment, 24% do, and 18% not currently but have done in the past. So that gives us a good picture of who we've got with us today, so thank you for that. So now I'm going to hand over to my colleague Ben from TreeKeeper, and he's going to talk to you a little bit about the software. So over to you, Ben.
Hi everyone, thank you Nadine. Thanks for taking time out of your days to come and join us this afternoon. My name's Ben Coles. I'm an urban forest consultant here with TreeKeeper, and for a number of years now, at TreeKeeper we work very closely with Davey, primarily on our iTree projects and adapting iTree for usability within the UK. With our relationship we've got with Davey, we're really excited now to be able to bring TreeKeeper and also Canopy Keeper to the UK marketplace. Previously, prior to starting with TreeKeeper, I've worked as a climbing arborist for many years. Then I became a tree surveyor, tree officer, and local authority arboriculturalist. The majority of my career, sadly, due to my advancing years, I've really used paper records, and then latterly onto bringing tree inventory data into spreadsheets and integrating some of that into council GIS systems. In my previous local authority role, I was then responsible for researching and playing a role in the procurement of tree inventory software. I'm sure those of you working in a local authority, and probably some out of local authority, will know what a premium time is at for tree officers, council arboriculturists, etc. And using old systems like spreadsheets to try and record all your data on trees really takes away what is very valuable time that could be spent on managing your trees. Many of the things I'd really like to have been able to understand in my previous roles in local government, the age structure of the urban forest, species diversity, tree health, the susceptibility to pests and diseases, etc., were really pretty much pipe dreams with the amount of time I was spending manually creating works orders, creating inspection records and such through Excel and systems that really weren't fit for purpose in the modern world. So looking at purchasing tree inventory software, I was given numerous demonstrations on different tree inventory software, and one thing I found frustrating, partly due to the cost on my own time, was I'd have demonstrations and a lot of questions would be asked of how many users are you going to have, how many trees are going to be recorded, do you want to be able to create work orders, do your contractors need access to the system? And seemingly every increment, every extra part I needed was considered as a bolt-on and not in the initial subscription fee. So it was pretty hard to actually get a price, and the more I wanted a software system to do for me, the more it was going to cost. Ultimately, my last authority made the decision to go and use an asset management system that was for use within highways, which could integrate into it tree inventory, tree management functions. I believe 2 years after having been told that we were going to start using the said asset management software, it's still not been made available to the tree team in my previous authority, and that's primarily because the highways staff were given priority, and tree managers played second fiddle really. So, and it really depends on the size of the authority you're in. It may be you could have a dedicated support member of staff who might be able to speed up those processes, but if you're in a smaller authority where you don't have the same resources, then probably you'll find as a tree officer, tree manager, you're always going to play second fiddle to the primary use for that software. So it really wasn't the ideal program. I think one of the beauties that we have with TreeKeeper is it's a really brilliant functional piece of software, and it's very much plug and play. The annual cost is £5,000 a year, and there's no hidden extras with that. You can have unlimited users, unlimited trees, you can create your work orders and free up a lot of that valuable time that's spent using systems that really, as I said, aren't fit for purpose in managing your tree inventories. So that's probably enough waffling on from me, and I guess the most valuable part of this webinar for all of you will be Josh giving a brilliant demonstration of how the software functions. So I'll hand over to you, Josh. Thank you very much.
We just launched the poll, Josh, quickly before you start your demo. We've got another poll for everyone, and it's all about where you are at the moment with your tree inventory. So let's see how people respond to that one.
Yeah, and I feel a little intimidated, Ben, here to follow a brilliant demo. So we'll see how that goes.
Okay, so thank you for responding to that poll. We've got 45% say this isn't applicable to them. 22% say you've started one, but it's only partially complete. 13% have one, but it's out of date. 13% have one and it's all up to date. That's great. And 9% don't have one at all. That's really interesting. Thank you for that. So I'm going to hand over to you, Josh.
Great. Well, thanks everybody for that. Go ahead and share my screen here. So yeah, so that last poll question, I really wanted to, see that because it helps me to understand where everybody is. I understand that whenever you have a tree inventory software or tree inventory, your goal isn't to get a tree inventory software, and your goal isn't to get a tree inventory. Your goal is to use these tools, these tree inventories or these softwares or urban tree canopy analysis, planting plans. All those are tools that you want to use to better manage your urban forest. So I'm going to go ahead and turn my webcam off now so that we can save some bandwidth. And again, thank you everybody for joining today, and thank you for your interest. I got about a half hour here. I don't think I obviously won't get to everything in the system. It's a very robust system. Little bit of a background for you. TreeKeeper is the longest running tree inventory software system out there worldwide. It's been around. We actually created it in the mid 90s. So it's gone through lots of iterations. I always like to joke that it started as a DOS-based system, and then when Windows got invented, we had to adapt it for a Windows version. And then when the internet got invented, we had to create like a web-based version and start using that. And then when GIS really became ubiquitous in the world, we had to add a GIS browser and that ability. And then when smartphones got invented, we had to create a smartphone app and do that. And now it's to the current form, what we call TreeKeeper 8. We're always developing, we're always taking feedback. We take it from all of our users throughout the world. So, TreeKeeper 9 will be coming. And we're looking at things like machine learning, AI, LiDAR, digital twins, stuff like that. So we're real proud of that history. We have, just give you a context, we do have well over 500 active users to it. And we have over 7 million trees in our TreeKeeper systems. And lots of different organizations use it, from obviously local authorities. We have here in the States, we have a lot of statewide systems that bring together multiple authorities, college campuses, cemeteries, arboretums. And we have users that only have a couple hundred trees in there that are just getting started with their program, or a small local authority. And we have cities like Los Angeles and that have hundreds of thousands of trees. So it's very scalable. And yeah, like Ben was talking about, we do find ourselves really with two types of clients. We have the one that doesn't have anything, or has some old Excel version or something like that, and they need something and they want something. So TreeKeeper is a solution for them for that. And then we have quite a few clients that have some other type of asset enterprise system, and it's not built specifically for trees. It's not built for the dynamic nature of a biological creature. So we have a lot of those clients that need a tree specific, but are required to use some other type of citywide system. So we have that, and we simply just connect them together with an API. And when we have those types of clients, that's a opportunity for them to keep their inventory up to date and still have their system connected citywide or authority-wide. So with that, I'm going to launch into the demo. Live demos are always nerve-wracking, so we'll hope the internet holds up here. But just to kind of orient you, this is a web-based system. So I'm on our global demo. This is the UK system here, and by default, when you come to it, it's going to come into what we call our guest view. So every system, like Ben said, all of our systems are completely customized, but they all have the same type of look and feel, of course, but every one of them comes with a guest system. And in this, we're really trying to drive users to the benefits of trees. But they do have a little bit of a searching ability here. where if they did want to look for some things, they could do that. And if you do a quick search, here I'm just searching for all the Fraxinus trees. You can see those highlight in yellow. And then down here is what we call our site matches screen. So you can see there's 430 of those. And if I was to pin on one of these, any one of these trees, then I could bring it up and view it. And you'll notice that when you see this, we're not sharing a lot of information with the public. What we're really trying to share is like, hey, here's the tree, here's the size of the tree, and here's the benefits of the tree. So what we have is a roles-based system. So if I log in to my system, I'll log in. Everybody has a unique username and password that you create. Then it will unlock a lot more features for us. So same look and feel, of course. And you'll see now when we open this up, it drives us to the main mapping screen. On the side here, there's a lot more tools available to us. So we have our layers tool. We have our dashboard tool here where we have common charts and graphs. We have our benefits tool here. And I'll show you this for a little second, but we actually have 3 types of benefits that we think about with trees or valuations. So here we have our iTree Eco benefits, where you actually have the ability to change the currency as well. So if you're calling in from outside of the UK and you don't want the pound, we do have the ability to customize that for whatever currency you want. We also have, so this is iTree Eco benefits. We also have our iTree Streets benefits. And then we have our tree valuation, which this is the CTLA methodology. So we can see what the replacement value of our trees are. So then we have the ability here to transfer data. We have the ability to generate reports, custom reports, and if I have time, I'll demo that. We have a built-in calendar tool. If I have time, I'll demo that at the end as well. And we have our admin portal, which gives you the user lots of ability to customize the screen, what they're seeing. And then finally, we have our search feature here. So because I am limited on time and we want to have some Q&A piece, I'm really only going to demo 3 aspects of the system today. I'm going to demonstrate how you would edit a tree site. This concept is so you can basically keep your inventory up to date. And then I'm going to demo quickly our concept and our approach to a paperless workflow. So I'll introduce the concept of the work orders and tracking work history. And then finally, I'll wrap it up with quickly adding a site so you can see how you can add new trees. So when I want to edit a tree, there's a couple ways and a couple things I could do. So one thing I could do is I could, again, search for a tree. So let me, I'll do another search here for Fraxinus. We'll see if there's any of these out there. And when I do that, you can see now I have my 324 sites, and they all have these yellow halo on it. So I could search that way. The other thing I could do, let me clear this, is I could simply click on any tree. I can zoom in and I can click on any tree site I want. And then that'll pull up that tree and you get like a little thumbnail of it. And when I open it up, now you'll see that there is a lot more information available to the user to see and edit. So here is all the information around the site that this inventory has. And then if I click on this species tab, I can see all the inventory information around the species. And if I click on this risk tab, I can see all the information around the risk. So something to keep in mind is all of this is customized for every single client that we have. So every single tree inventory system that's in a TreeKeeper will have a different set of data fields, and they'll also have different attributes associated with their inventory. So if you don't see a data field here, maybe tree height, don't worry, that can easily be added to the system. And what we do is we work with you, and TreeKeeper, Ben and them work with you when we're building a system to not only build it with what you currently want to inventory and manage, but also future things you might want to. And then, so here on the left, you can see we have it integrated with Google Maps, so we can look at an overview of the system. And then we also have it integrated with Google Street View. So if I say I'm standing here and I'm looking at this tree and I want to edit and keep it up to date, it's pretty easy. All I have to do is hit this edit feature. So I just hit this edit button, and then I can edit anything associated with the tree. So I'm going to change this tree to, I'm going to say it needs to be removed now. So I'm going to say I'm sitting here and I'm looking at it. I need to remove this tree, and I'm going to put the condition down as dead. So I'll just submit that. And now when I view the site here in a second, you'll be able to see that the tree has been updated, and now it says remove and dead. So it's very easy to edit a tree and update it. And if I go up here to the top, I'll show you some of these features now. So we're on the site information tab. I won't be able to demo calls for you guys today, but if you did want to do calls, if you have that system in place, then you can log calls. Here's the work orders. I'll demo that in a short minute. Here's the benefits tab. Again, this is the same benefits I was showing you at the beginning, so we can see the eco benefits and the appraised value. And then here we have this archive feature. So if I go to this archive, this will help us record and keep all of the edits that have been made on a system. And we highlight them here so you can see that it used to be a prune and it used to be in fair condition. So this is really helpful for entities that don't want to keep making the same mistake or want to have a little bit of understanding of the history of the tree. So we also have the ability here to email or print this site. So say I'm looking at this site in the office and I want to print it out and go out in the field for whatever reason, or hand it to a crew to go check on. I could do that. If I wanted to email this site link, I could email this link directly to somebody, and when they got that link, it would pull up this site for them seamlessly so they could view it. And then we have this idea of copying the site link as well. So if you didn't want to just email it directly, you wanted to put it inside of a greater email or maybe copy a hyperlink into a report or something like that, you could have that site link as well. Something I wanted to show you is we do have the ability to upload files while you're sitting there. So if you wanted to, you could easily take a photo that you have on your desktop or on your computer, and you can upload a photo of that tree. If you're using the mobile version, when you're there and you click on that, it'll bring up your camera app for you as well. So you can snap a photo. It doesn't have to be a photo, it could be a document. So if you've written a report about a site or something, you could easily do that too. Upload that. Okay, so now we're sitting here on this tree. Let's go ahead and I want to show you how to do a workflow system here. So say you want to remove this tree now. So a couple things I can do, a couple ways you can do it, but the easiest way is if I just go to my work information and I just say, click this little add work. And then so I can still view the tree on the site, And now I can start creating a work record for it. We have this idea of projects. So if you wanted to group all of your work orders and work records on a certain project, like a planting or a pruning, you could do that. If you wanted to, and then that's nice because you can assign a budget to it. So I'm not going to assign this to a project. I'm going to put the work type down here. And again, remember that all of these attributes are completely customizable. I'm going to say this is a routine. It's kind of not a super one. So I'm just going to leave this requested date open. If I wanted to, I could schedule a specific date for the work to get done. Or even if I was working at the tree today, I could go ahead and complete it. And then I can assign it to a crew. So since I don't know who's going to do it, I'm just going to put to be determined. But if you wanted to put in there a contractor or a certain type of configuration of a crew, you could do that. And then, I could add a comment here if I want as well. So I'm just going to add a couple comments. I'm going to say, remove to stump and leave stump. So we don't need to grind the stump or something like that. And then you can see here, I could share that with the guest if I wanted to, or with contractors. And I can keep adding as many comments as I want. But we'll just go ahead and leave it at that. So here now we have the work as requested. Now I could do a couple things with this if I wanted to. One is I could print this work record out and physically hand it to somebody. But again, we're trying to move into a paperless system now that everybody has tablets and smartphones and stuff. So the other thing I could do is edit this right now. I could add more work to it if I wanted to. But let's go ahead and let's fast forward to scheduling this tree. So I'm going to go ahead and edit this site, and I'm going to go ahead and schedule this work. And we're just going to schedule it for tomorrow. And now I'm going to assign this to an in-house crew and submit that. So now you can see it's been checked, scheduled, and who it's assigned to. So I'm going to leave that alone for a second, and I'm going to show you a couple other things about the paperless system just to kind of help, and then we'll come back to completing this. So I'm gonna go ahead and close this out, and I want to show you a couple other pretty neat features here. So I showed you the search feature. We also have this map tool here. So if I want to, I can take a box, and I can just draw a box around these trees. And then those are all going to be selected. Now, once I have those trees isolated, and say, I want to add these in here as well. So if I get those 17 trees selected, I can open this up. And it doesn't work well on a demo site on a webinar, but there's this little pop-out button here. So if I pop this out, this tab, then I can, pan through these and actually work alongside of each site. But what I wanted to show you here is that when you do this, you can also add a lot and do a lot of the functionality that I was just doing, but we can work in global edits or groupings of trees and sites. So this is really powerful when you're trying to assign, we don't want you to think about you have to assign work tree by tree by tree, right? So if I want, I can take, or edits, so if I want, these are all populous trees, and there's a couple of ash trees here. So if I wanted to, I could take all of these trees and I could create a work record for them all. So I could take these and say I want to, again, I'm going to assign these all to my routine pruning project. And I'm going to say I'm going to schedule a prune for all of these trees at once. And I'm going to schedule these all to be done at the beginning of August 1st, and I'm going to assign this to our council tree crew. I want them to go in there and prune all these trees. And I'm going to go ahead and create a work order for that now. So I'm going to assign that to this routine pruning work order. So I'm going to submit that. And you'll see that that work record was added as these 17 sites. So now if I go to any one of these tree sites and I pull up that tree and I go to view the work information, you can see that that work was scheduled and sitting there. If at the same time, if I wanted to do a global edit of these trees, I could do that too. I could hit this button here and I could change all these trees to stumps or something. If I wanted to, you know, I can do lots of different types of edits to these trees. I'm not going to do that for just for the time's sake now, but I wanted just to get that concept there. And of course, you know, like every type of software out there now, you could export this data if you wanted to. So if you did want to take this data and put it into an Excel sheet or something, you could do that. You could also change what columns you're seeing. So I could see, like, if I wanted to see these multi-stem. And then any one of these columns, you can search and sort. You know, so if I wanted to sort this by, you know, largest tree, something like that, you can see it's totaling the DBH, it's totaling the valuation of the trees as well. So lots of functionality there. So now let's go ahead, and I want to show you one other feature with work orders. So let me, I'm going to go ahead and erase my search, kind of put that back to 0. But say I wanted to find all of my scheduled work or my open work. So I could go to my work records and I could search, and I could search by any of the data that we were looking at. So if I wanted to search by a project, I could. If I wanted to search by a work type, I could. So let's just go ahead and search by pruning and just see what we find. So now there's 19 sites out there that have a pruning work type. And if I go to my work here, I can see those. And if I wanted to, I could, you know, filter that, you know, what have you. I could also go back to my search here and say I have a work type, and I could look at, you know, trees over a certain size or a certain condition. But let's look for work that is scheduled, you know, to happen between today and next month. You know, let's look out for the next month, what work is scheduled. And if I submit that, now you'll see my numbers got back to those 17 sites that we had earlier done. I can also look at my calendar, and I could see what work is planned. So I can see that, you know, if I look at my work features here, and I look at my legend, you know, you can see that work was requested on the 10th. And if I go here, you can see that I have a bunch of work scheduled for August 1st, which is that one that we were looking at earlier. And I can click any one of those and it'll bring up that exact tree. All right, so there's a couple other ways to find the trees, to work with those trees, but I don't want to overwhelm you. You know, I always say there's lots of ways to do things in TreeKeeper, and it's our goal when we have TreeKeeper is not to tell you or try to dictate how a workflow is supposed to be or how to do it. It's not us, you know, dictating how you do it. We want you to be able to use it how you want to. So we purposely have made it very flexible so that whatever way you want to use TreeKeeper, you can. So if you don't want to use work, like Ben was saying, like you don't have to use the work order. We have like you can imagine a lot of our clients that only have a couple thousand trees, they don't really need a robust work order management system. So they're using it really just to keep the inventory up to date. What we like to think about is we like to think about TreeKeeper as being ready when you're ready. So whenever you're ready to incorporate work orders into your workflow, it'll be sitting there ready to use for you. And you don't have to call Ben and say, hey, Ben, I think I want to do work. And he's like, okay, great. That'll be an extra 2,000 pounds, and then you can try it. You know, it's like, nope, you just start working on it. It's just sitting right there for you. So, you know, you can grow with TreeKeeper, and TreeKeeper can grow with you. And one of the ways that we make TreeKeeper a very robust and stable and good system is we get a lot of feedback from users. So if you're trying to do something and it's not working the way that you want it to work, we want you to call us and say, like, hey, can it do this? And chances are it can do it. We just have to show you how or kind of work through it with you. But if it can't, we'll be like, huh, that's a good idea. Let's put that in the queue to develop, and we'll roll that out to everybody. So every client gets free updates and free upgrades as we develop software, and I'll show you that in a second. And if it's something that's super specific to you and we don't think anybody else is going to benefit from it, then we'll be more than happy to do any kind of custom development for you as well. So let's go ahead and just close this out. I just want to show you here now how to close this out. So I'm going to go ahead and complete this project up. And you can see I'm going to go ahead and complete this project, and I'm going to say that we actually did it today. We did it ahead of time, and we did it in 6 hours. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. Now, something I want to show you is at that time, if I wanted to, I can set a follow-up work record. So if you're like planting a tree and you want to set a follow-up work record to come back in a year and remove any staking, no problem. You can set that for a specific date or set it for like a certain time plus, you know, dates. If you're inspecting the tree and you want to come back in a month and inspect it again, no problem. Just select works pipe inspection, set a specific date. Say I'm inspecting it and I want to come back in 1 month, and say, you know, make sure tree is removed. Or, you know, say it's a hazardous tree or high risk tree. And so, you know, make sure that you want to come back for any type of inspection. You know, so if you're monitoring a tree, you know, on a monthly basis to make sure it doesn't fall over or something, no problem. So I'll show you this in a little bit, but this is a good time to talk about it. I want to get to how to add a tree, but we're really passionate about data integrity, data quality in here. So for that, we have a lot of safety guardrails in place. And you can see that because I've configured this system to require the user to add a project, a priority, and a crew, it's not letting me add that to the system. And you'll notice it says required here. So once I do that, it's no longer says that required. So it's a way to make sure that we have high quality data in here. And what else I have to do? Let's see. Follow-up work crew is required right here. All right, so now I'm going to submit that. So now you can see that I have this work history here. You can see that it was requested, and you can see that it was completed. So now we have this like living, breathing history of our tree. Okay. Let me go ahead and show you how to edit or how to add a tree now. So let me go ahead and reset my search here. And I'm just gonna kind of pan around, show you, this is how all typical GIS systems work these days, kind of go in and out. So we're going to go ahead and add a tree right about here. So I go to my map tools, I pick this little add a point on the map, and drag this out to where I want the tree to go. And then, I kind of place it, and I have an opportunity to see if I really like that placement. I can move it around again if I want. So once I like where it's at, then I just click on it again, and up pops my attribute list. So I pick what layer I want it to go on. I'll show these other layers in a second. So I pick my tree sites layer, and then you just start working through the data fields. You just start, doing your drop downs, and remember all these drop downs are customizable. You can see I have required. You can see down here it says I have 8 issues to resolve before I can add this tree. So just kind of work through this. I just select my species. Obviously, I'm just kind of randomly selecting things here. Hopefully we planted a good tree. So I'm going to go ahead and, I'm acting like I'm planting a new tree here. So now you can see all my things are resolved. If I wanted to, I could do a risk assessment as well. It's not required for this system. And if I wanted to, I could assign a work record at this point. So, so I'm going to go ahead and assign not to a project. I'm going to do this again as an inspection. This is what I'm just doing here is I want to inspect this newly planted tree in 1 year. So I'm going to set this date for 365 days from now. So I'm going to submit that. So now whenever this adds it to the system, I'll have a new tree available to me that I can, so if you can see there's like a little star here, a little green dot, and then I have this tree now that I can edit if I want. And you see my work order, I have this follow-up work requested. So yeah, so that's the tree. We do have this idea here of being able to move this site. So for some reason, if you placed it and you don't like where it's at, you can just move it. You don't have to like edit and delete it, and re-add it. Now we know trees don't move a lot. The whole concept there is to help keep the data clean. The main thing is like as different data layers or as you import information, things can be skewed. So just for like cleaning it up. So that's how you add a tree. I want to show you one other quick cool thing here. If I want to add another tree, like say I'm doing a tree planting at this property, I have this ability to do a load last. So I can click this load last, and it automatically adds exactly the same stuff that I just had. So I'll just go ahead and change this species of tree. Let's go ahead and say we're putting in a paperbark maple. So I'm just going to submit that site there. So we have the ability to do this load last. So you can kind of quickly walk down a tree and add that new tree there. So we have lots of clients that will give us an old data set and we'll just import it, which is exactly what came here with this system. we didn't go out and do this inventory for them. TreeKeeper didn't do that. We imported this system in there, this tree data in here. So that's not a problem at all. So, obviously I was showing you how you add a tree with like a newly planted tree. So obviously you could add a mature tree. You can add any kind of information to the system. So that's how you add a tree. I kind of want to show you a couple more things. We got a couple more minutes here before we get to the Q&A piece. I want to show you, we have this concept of layers. And so I've been working a lot in the tree sites layer. And these are the labels. We can do custom labelization for you. But we do have this idea of, you can have any kind of custom layers you want. So we also have this, for this system, we have set up a tree protection order layer. So you can see here that we have a couple trees that have a couple tree protection orders on them. And, if I toggle on the tree sites, so I want to show you that, like, what we have here is you can see over here, there is let me change this layer here just so it's a little bit easier to see. But you can see over here, we have this green square, which is a tree protection tree. And then over here, we kind of have these 4 that are both. So we have trees that are in both systems. We have it kind of in the public tree inventory as well as the tree protection order. So if I turn this off. So you can have trees that kind of straddle both layers if you want. We have, because it's a very flexible system, you can have as many layers as you want. So we have some clients that will create specific layers for different tree planting initiatives for something like that. But we also have people putting in other asset types. So they could put poles or stoplights or irrigation or landscape beds, lots of systems, lots of that. So I'll just quickly show you here another demo tool that we have that shows all those different layers you can have. So here's an example of, sometimes people will put park trees in a separate layer. It's all depends on what you want. Yeah, the final piece that I want to show is when you log in to a system, you're always going to be greeted with your own custom homepage. I didn't demo this at the beginning because it's kind of awkward from a demo perspective, but when you log in with your unique username, you can customize and have your own dashboard. So this is where a lot of people will put work that's assigned to them if they want. Or, if you're a manager and you have multiple crews, you want to look at what work is assigned to specific crews or what work is outstanding or completed. Or if you just want to have like a simple kind of condition, kind of high level. So this is a dynamic homepage, dynamic reporting, and what it does is it pulls from the latest data that's in there. So, here you can see, here's a condition breakdown if I want. Here's a species table. So this is just some kind of stuff that I just have in here. But again, it's all driven by what you want to view in your homepage. Here is our mobile version. So if I click on this, it's a fully web active system. So it's optimized to work on an iPad for a screen real estate size, but it works really slick on your phone as well. We give you, you can tell that some of the features are kind of gone, like the administration layer, administration center. But you can always just take it and go back to the full version if you want. But you can tell if you go to the full version, it gets a little crowded, So that's why we have this mobile version here. And the last thing I want to leave you is we do have this very robust support portal. What we really want you to be able to do is at any time, we want you to be able to quickly find what help you need to be effective in the system. So we have a whole YouTube channel with all sorts of tutorial videos. We have simple, like kind of one-pager fact sheets, quick stuff. Here is, you know, some of our other kind of quick pages to kind of help break down things. And one of the last things I'll show you here is, I always like this, and I don't think we do a good enough job. So you can see this is our blog that we keep, and you can see what we have our release notes, our latest updates. So this was just done, oh wow, last month or last week. So these are things that I didn't even know we have available to us yet, that everybody now has. So now apparently we can do bulk document upload. That's cool. Some bugs and fixes. So if you kind of go through these release notes, you can see some updates and things that maybe you didn't know you needed or wanted, and you could kind of check out and play with. So, and of course we have a helpline that you can call, and we'll jump on and do web demos and answer any questions you have. So, all right. Like I said, I knew we weren't going to get to everything. We didn't even get anywhere close to the admin center and customizing stuff. You know, like I said, we do have a roles-based system here. You can see these are the types of roles we have. I mean, it's so robust. We didn't get to rules. We didn't get to the calls. But with that, I'm going to leave it, and let's check out how the questions are feeling. All right, so we got a question here. Can you adapt to the valid tree risk benefit as a default? Yeah, no problem at all. Again, all of these sites are, all the data is completely customizable. So by, just because this is the way that this system, this inventory data consisted with the track methodology, that's why we put it in there. Lots of our, you know, like I said, we've been around since the 90s, so the risk assessment methodology has evolved a lot since then. But yeah, easily do that. And we can even build in the logic that goes with those different systems, you know. So right now, you know, we have it to give this kind of compilation rating by editing these data fields, you know. So if I was to edit these data fields here, it will change the risk rating. So if I go in here now, so you can see it changed that risk rating without me doing it. So it's using the logic of the methodology. All right, looks like there's another question here about the format can safely be taken in the fields, the data be updated as you're inspecting. Also, can resistograph and tomography results be imported? Yep. So I demoed the mobile version, but again, with the upload files, you can easily bring in any kind of report that you might have. So, you know, say you did like say you did a LiDAR scan of it, and you have an isolated photo that you want to bring in there. No problem, and you can view the that there. And you can have multiple ones, I should say. If I want to add in another file here, so that, and then you'll have this ribbon of data, and you can star one to be the your favorite, so it comes to that automatically whenever you do it. Yeah. All right, here's another question. Can you have more than one work option, i.e. removal and stump grinding? Yeah, of course you can. Like I said, I didn't get a good chance to demo it, but I'll just show you real fast here in the ad. So this is something that is really quite robust. That so as an admin, anybody can go in and edit any data field you want, add anything. So I'm going to change his primary maintenance need. So it's like stump removal, train. If I wanted to, I could add a new one here. If I wanted to edit this, the name of it, I could just edit this one. You can see we want you to know how many times it's being used. So you could do that. Same with work type management. You could just add a new work type here as well, or edit those. So these are your drop down picks that you get. Question, where is the data stored? So it's all in the cloud. It's all cloud-based. It's all backed up. Actually, this just happened, yeah, so it's all backed up every night, every 3 days, and every week. It's in the cloud, and behind firewall and all encrypted and all that. But that's kind of interesting and cool from a safety perspective, but also from a client user perspective. If you did for any reason want to like restore a system, say you had a rogue employee or you made a bunch of edits that you didn't really, because that global edit, with great power comes great responsibility. We can always restore a system for you. Yep, the system can easily be changed to euros. That's not a problem. We actually do also have, we don't have it on this demo, but we do have the ability to do multiple languages as well. So we currently have it seamlessly running in Spanish and Korean. We have an Arabic version and a French version as well currently set up. So it's really easy for us to do that. The harder part about like and this isn't the question, but language is making sure all the attributes are the way that you want them. So we have this English version, the proper English version right now. Oh man, I knew we weren't able to get to all the questions. Let's see here. Okay, so there's a question here about like managing users and like if a county can see certain things and whatnot. Yeah, so again, because I didn't get to really demo it, when you're at a user level, what you can do is you can assign them rights on certain layers. So if you were to like have a system that the city or the local authority and the county were kind of sharing, or you wanted to share access, you could do a couple things. You could give them rights on just a certain layer, so you could have the layers differently, but you could also give them different quality of rights. So they could have edit version rights or admin rights or contractor rights. So, and then you can also assign them to certain groups of people, which works. And then there's even more functionality here about even greater detail. So lots of flexibility in how multiple users, again, it's a roles-based system. Managing group of trees and woodlands. So, no problem. I'll demo that in this system here, but we have this concept. You can just see, you can imagine this as a woodlot, if you will. But if you wanted to do a woodlawn, what you could do is you come over and you could say, add a polygon. And then, I just want to kind of draw like a polygon around this woodlot. And then I would put the information in there around the site that I wanted. So you'll notice that this site is completely different. This layer's got completely different information than the other layers do. But you could easily have a wood lot layer, and you could create whatever your wood lot type would be. So you could create all your own custom data fields for that. All right, Nadine, we're at time. I could keep blabbing on forever. So, but I'm gonna, I think I'm gonna turn it over to you now.
That's fine. Thanks everyone for your questions. We've had loads. That's really interactive. Thank you. I've been putting some links in the chat for you. So I've shared a couple of links that will take you to some resources all about TreeKeeper. I've also shared our social media handles. So if you want to follow us on social media, that would be great. It's where you can find out about our workshops and webinars. So do follow us on social media. I think, yeah, it's 3 o'clock, so we can wrap up. Thanks, Ben. Thanks, Josh. It's been really interesting. I've learned a lot. And I guess reach out if you have any more questions. Either email us at TreeKeenomics, it's info@treekeenomics.co.uk, or visit our website, treekeenomics.co.uk, and we'll have a chat with you and we can set up a demo, can't we, Ben?
Absolutely, yes.
So yeah, thanks everyone. Hope you've enjoyed it. See you at the next one.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Bye.